beautiful lights. The message has been flow, ease, grace, peace, harmonization, love, allowing, opening, receiving. There has been a lot of like swirling around worry and fear and money and the constructs based on the old system that were built around that, and how all of that is crumbling so that we can receive the new. And so yeah, if that feels like something that is hitting home with you, please stick around. I'm Jennifer Renee. This is Within by Jen. We discuss the collective emotional movement while also taking responsibility for our own. And so that when we calm the noises and the voices of the old within the self, we hear the voice within speak, and we have a greater clarity of moving forward on our path. And each and every path is yours and yours alone. And when we learn to do that with discernment, with clarity, with I'm pausing for a moment because I wanted to say authenticity, but it's more than that. It's integrity. It is truth. And that truth sometimes hurts when we sit with why we are reacting in a certain way. But the reaction is because it has triggered something. This last week, I was kind of sitting with the minefield, or the tripwires, if you will. The tripwires that when we experience something in our external world, that trip up is the moment where we go within, where we really pay attention within our own scars, within our own world of the swirling energies and the battle that could potentially be between the masculine, the feminine, the light, dark, the red, the blue, the opposing sides, if you will. And when we realize that that war is no more in the grand light, the grand way, that war can subside, and the illusion of disillusionment, the illusion of separation ceases to exist. It is no more. And how being in that time space reality, that time zone, if you will, and it's the zone of truth, of your path. But I can speak from this honestly. And if you're still here with me, I can almost be certain that this message will hit home and you will feel something with this. Is when you are walking your path with clarity and with truth, it will ruffle feathers. It will. And I keep looking up here, and I will put a little clip insertion as this eagle phoenix that I took from an old canvas that was a moment of a family tie, maybe. I'm trying to speak with integrity. That seemed destructive. But I also see that in the destruction phase, and when we allow it all to dismantle, the rebuild and the resurfacing and everything that comes out of it with love and with greatness, with the championing the championship of who we are at the core, we fly, we soar. And I'm loving this because this specific piece I had at a showing, and a gentleman walked by and he goes, "It's so real. It's realistic." Like he said, I feel like it's staring at me. He goes, "And it's kind of scary." And I'm like, all right, good. Like, one, why would it be scary? Like, we have to address that first. And two, what feelings do you have deep within? And so it's up there. Like I said, I'll insert a clip. and I posted about it, this piece before. She also still, it is ready for a new home, as I am ready to let it go. That destruction and that chaos and the timing of my life where I realized I needed to be separated from everything. And this is where this message begins, is the realization when you see that you were put in isolation, to remove yourself from the external noise. And there's nothing wrong with that, but a lot of times it can seem it's so hard to find clarity with everyone else talking about and living in their own. And whatever state of mind or whatever state of being that is, all of these voices and inputs go in, and we have to, it's almost like it rattles the cage, and then we have to use discernment on when that voice is still here. Is that voice mine? Is that voice of truth? Is that voice of distraction? And then simultaneously working with all of the voices in our head that have been given to us from our past life, if you will, from our past experiences. And when I say past life or lives, I mean, if you go through, I'll just break it down into short snippets, but if we go through our adolescence, and then we have our memories from 0 to 7 or 8, and then we have our memories from 8 until, let's say, 14, and then we have our memories from 15 to 18, and all of these times in our lives are the past lives where we're going through molding phases of who we are and how we are sponges of watching the examples that are around us. And a lot of times we are picking up on all of these examples on what it should look like. But then we have to get within and say, wow, was this really the truth of how courage is displayed, how resilience is displayed, how unconditional and unselfish love is displayed, and how we've seen it being played out in so many different ways. And there is no good or bad in any of it, it just is. But I call us back to the core and the center of who we are, and that is the sinner, the centaur, the center, us, the column of light, the pillar of strength, of courage, of bravery, of authentic truth in light, in love, in harmonization, from the old of shame and blame and suffering to the enlightened being that is no longer we are formless and form. And it's like I see this kind of kaleidoscope moving effect where every thought that comes in, we have a moment's notice to feel, experience the thought, do not give it meaning, and to release and relinquish with love, with harmony, with balance. And the more that we do that, and the more that we get in tune, thank you for that. That doesn't typically come through in these transmissions. But when we get back in tune with who we are, our divine self, our divine being and presence that is connected to all things, but that is also nothing, we realize, we remember, the revelation, the awakening, it is resides. That's all that's left. And the meme is coming to mind, or the thing that I've seen where you can look at it from one point of view and say, I'm alone in darkness, or you can say, oh, I'm alone in darkness. And I'll share an experience with you this last weekend. For the first time in my life, and this is going to definitely choke me up because it was so real. I had the vision of myself lying in bed, and I've never seen myself I was lying in bed and I was all curled up, and this wasn't a dream. So most of my insight or clarity moments come through dreams, but this one I could just see the vision of me. And I don't know if it was that night or the next night, but I was lying in bed and I had just asked to communicate, just communicate. And I heard my name, Jennifer. And I just said yes. Yes, there was no hesitation, and I wasn't worried. There was no fear. There was no thing around it. It was present. And then going to do a flow movement, a glow up flow movement. And for the first time, I moved without anything, without worry, without fear of what others would think of me, without anything. And I was just in this zone space, comes back to the zone that we were talking about, this time zone of reality where time doesn't exist. And time might not be a good word to use, but it is a zone of coherence. It is a zone of awareness. It is a zone of precision and clarity and a redefining of life through the upward momentum, through this expansion of being. And I remember, I'll kind of dial it back a little bit. The first time I was doing a flow, this was been several months ago, and the way time has been moving, it could have been a year ago. I allowed myself to move without restriction, to move without thought. And that was big for me. And I remember just this flow state of my hands begin to move, and it seemed like something ancestral coming through. And I was just moving. And then I had a dream where in the moving, realizing that I was in the back seat. I was not in control, and going, all right, I have full faith and trust that you've got me. God, you've got me. And then as let's say I'm hearing emergence and resurrection, as the Godhead, that was what was very prevalent this last week. The Godhead, the God self, the God, and I don't mean this from an ego mind. I don't mean this from any amount of control or manipulation. I mean it in service to humanity for the betterment of all through our work and services. So please do not get this twisted. This is with love and reverence to the divine will, to and through the divine will. But it was very prevalent that God had, and it was like this emergence was coming through us, through the Christed light, the Christed child, and how as living beings, living proof that it's like words are now just, it is. We are, I am. And it's miraculous. I need to just take a moment and pay respect to this. And so as coming back to this last weekend, seeing myself moving without fear, moving without a lot of this journey of allowing your soul to speak terrifies people. And you're also in isolation so much. And if we're looking at it from an external validation world, it seems like we're doing things wrong. It seems like we're messing up. We're not getting it right. We're not in the right place. We need to relocate. but the location is here. It is here, it is here, and it is now. And if you're still with me right now, you are exactly where you need to be. And we are being rewarded. We are receiving. We are open. We have softened. We have softened to receive. And that is not the way the old system was created. And I have spoken of this many times. It seems counterintuitive to slow down and be. And the vision that I had gotten when, first of all, it was like myself, every time I would ground and integrate, meaning I would go into my pain and go into my scars, my suffering, and I would nourish that version of me, nourish that scar with my tears. And these are unabashed. They are without shame. These are just pure tears flowing out of your body. The tears then nourish those scars to where the ground beneath you elevates. And you do that over and over again for every scar. At least that was the way it was given to me. And in doing so, so as above, so below. The deeper that you go, the higher you are able to access. And so as I would do that, and I would access this higher intelligence, this higher mind, and bring it back down into earth, it was almost like I felt like, I'm like, now I'm ready. I hit the ground running. Go, go, go. And it was like the horse would buck me off every single time. Like, you're not ready. You're not ready. You have to learn. You have to nurture this horse, if you will. You have to nurture this new space. You have to, it's baby steps. And where I can see in my past, I've taken, this is 6 years. This next year in August, it will be 7 of this full practice. I can see all the dedication and the work and the time and the diligence that it has taken. But I also was like, I could see the vision of like this cat where I was this little cat, where it's like funny where we think about 9 lives and curiosity kills the cat, where every time the feather or the pendulum would stop, I'm like, go again. And I was doing that to myself. It was like, I didn't know a world without chaos. I didn't know a world without pain. I didn't know a world without the emotions that we go through to dismantle the old construct. But what I was taught, that with every rising moment, something was going to come in and try to drag you back down. And that is what the old space had me thinking was what the new space was going to deliver. And so I just every time was like, oh, well, now I have clarity. I've gained clarity from this higher realm. And now I'm here and I'm like, okay, let's go again. And I would just like smack the pendulum. And of course, my soul just kept saying, be still. Be still. And so that practice, and I've shared this many, many times, I didn't know how to be held. I didn't know how to be held, for one. I didn't know how to soften and be held, two. And for the third, to soften, be held, and then to surrender. That's a whole nother realm. Surrendering and being so vulnerable and so open that I was so excited. This last week, I had gone up to have a beer and to work and to write a little bit. And the gentleman sitting next to me was so inquisitive, and he said, you know, I'm going to want to know what you're working on. I was like, it's wonderful. I'm an open book. And as we sat there, we shared different stories. We shared different timelines. And I had said that this feeling I have right now is that I'm formless. And he stopped and he said, wow, formless. That is something to really take in and to think about. And I said, if you don't mind me asking, what does formless mean to you? Where does that take you? And he said, wow, he said, I feel like it's like I'm asking to take off my shirt right now. It's so vulnerable. And I get it 100%. And I was so grateful that he shared that with me in complete honesty. And I said, I respect where you are. I respect that answer. That was truthful. And he then said, you have a way with kind of drawing things out that could seemingly be insecure or self-doubt or worry or fear, and it's just safe. And one, thank you very much, and two, I told him, I said, my dreams, I've just been naked in my dreams, just walking around naked, and nobody else is, and I've had these before, but now it's back again, where it's so vulnerable, it's so raw, it's so real, it's so open, it's so vast, expansive, wide. It's just like, there's nothing consuming us any longer. There's no thing, there's no borders, there's no barriers, there's no walls, it's just pure. It's just pure land of the living, land of freedom. And I said, so even in my dream though, I will admit, it is difficult being this vulnerable, and you gain strength through it. But when we're discussing a topic that most don't understand, if you have ears to hear and eyes to see, and you sit long enough to hear the voice of the divine, the voice of God, you will hear. And it is a practice that takes work and dedication and commitment every single day. And I'm honored that my soul woke me up in 2019 for me to realize I had work to do. And I'm honored now to be here to be able to share it with you, but also just to say the truth of this whole journey. It does take dedication, but it's dedication to you and to your reason for being here. Every single one of you that are watching me has a reason to be here. And if you know exactly what I'm talking about, I've been very vocal also about the people that I meet. When I know immediately that they have gifts. You have gifts. Mine specifically I hear messages very, very clearly. And that's what I deliver with here on this platform. But I also see these visions. I see beautiful visions. And in the past, some of them weren't so beautiful, but I had no fear around what the vision was trying to communicate with me, because all in all, it is still a messenger. And my dreams communicate very vividly with me. And then with that, I create through my writing. When I just sit and allow myself to automatic write, 90% of the time when I'm writing, there is an aha moment that comes through where I have not realized that. Wow, I have not looked at life like that before. And so I want to end it with this. We were just watching The Rip the other day. It's a Ben Affleck. Oh man, I feel like he's going to wind up watching this, and then I forgot his name. Because they're both great. This is funny. Anyway, we were watching that, and through the whole movie, I would definitely encourage you to go watch it, but it is definitely a bang bang shoot 'em up type of movie. But at the end of the movie, they're both sitting there having done awful things to one another, said awful things where the other person didn't understand the stance that each one was taking. And at the end of the movie, they're sitting there together watching the sunrise, and they've realized that it couldn't have been any other way for us to get right here, right now. And so when this message lands and you're listening to this, I will remind you that everything that has happened for us was for us to be where we are right now, to be leaders, to be way showers, to be guides, to be the ancient mysteries, the ancient holders of truth throughout all the cosmos. Nothing, no thing that we're receiving is new. It is all a part of creation, but it took us opening enough, and it also took our essence, our being, our form to be removed, to be reborn, and to basically test to see if our vessels would remain in purity and in light. And that's why the tests have seemed so hard. But if you're hearing this, and it doesn't matter when you're listening, because it will always find you in divine timing, you are meant for greatness. You are the champion of your world and all those who know you. It's an honor to be delivering this message, because for me personally, I didn't believe in myself enough. I didn't feel like I was worthy enough to hold this role, if you will, to be working with God and to hold this role. I didn't feel worthy. And now I know I am. I know that I am. That is another journey and a topic in and of itself. I love you. It's an honor, a privilege, and a blessing to be here and to be of service and to serve the greater good of humanity, to hold the vision and to simultaneously create with you our new earth where we all are equal. We are all welcome. We are all beautiful. And I actually had sitting reading this morning in my sacred space, I had this vision of me just sitting with men, women in prison and holding them, just holding them. And there was no words even being spoken, but our foreheads were together and them feeling this love through me, because I'm just the vessel. It is through me that I allow this love to come through and to be and to display it. That's it. Matt Damon. That's it. That's it. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Great movie. And so I love you. I love you all very, very much. And woo, yeah, I'm happy that I was able to deliver this transmission. And if you would like to dive deeper, all of my information is found on my website, withinbyjen.com. And we definitely, Earth School University was given to me a while ago, and I remember going, you've lost your mind. It was also given to me, dare to enter the kingdom of heaven. And I also thought, you've lost your mind. But now I can look back and see, wow, yes. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. I've said it many, 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 many times. And then the song, if you're going through hell, keep on going. Don't slow down. If you're scared, don't show it. Has been very, very prevalent. But when you get to the other side, and as if sides are things, but it felt like what I'd seen within myself was this mergence, and like I said, coherence of the sides no longer exist, and it's just the vision I'm seeing now is it's like this tidal wave of water moving through both sides of the mind, if you will, and like cleaning everything out, where it's just the ocean of love and expansion, and then we get to decide moving forward how we choose to live our lives, with abundance, with prosperity, with blessings, truly being blessed to be a blessing and to give back to others, and how we choose to go about that. So I'm going to end it there. I love you. Again, I love you. It's an honor. I'm Jennifer Renee. This is Within by Jen. It's within you. It's within me. It's within each and every one of us. It always, always has been. And I will see you all